At one rental at a time, we are just that, one rental at a time. We are not talking about going fast. We are not talking about max leverage. We are simply setting realistic goals, getting to 4, and if we like that, then we go for 10. So why do I think 4 rental properties will change your life? Why do I always ask everybody to get started with 4? Well, there are actually several reasons for that. The first and foremost is because I believe everybody thinks and believes it's possible. When I talk about getting to 4 properties at events or with people on the internet, it is always met with, yes, I think I can do that. If you go to events and you talk about getting to 20 or 50 or 100 units, it quickly becomes, I wish I could, only if I was younger, and the excuses just start to pile up. But really, the reason about 4 is because that was my goal. When I started at 30 years old, I simply wanted to have 4 single-family homes that would be eventually paid off by my tenants. So I'm going to give you some basic math that was around my belief. I also want to talk about what getting to 4 rental properties is not. Let's do the math first. So if we assume for a moment that the purchase price of a home is $200,000, and we assume that there is appreciation of 2.5% each year for 30 years, that will add up to, drum roll please, $419,513. Basically, in the span of 30 years, as your tenants are paying off your units, your property value doubles. Now, you got to also remember, it not only doubles, but in all reality, it probably goes up 400%. How can that be? Well, for most investors, you're putting 25% down. So in our earlier example of a $200K purchase, you're putting $50,000 down. And then the tenants are paying off the other $150,000. So basically, your $50,000 becomes $419,513. Now, if you take that times 4, that is $1.68 million. More on that in a minute. But because these are investment properties, not only do we have the purchasing price or the value, we also have rent. If we assume the same rent increase, and we assume we purchased it with existing rents at $1,500, rents will again double and become $3,000. So again, if we assume you have 4 rental properties, each producing $3,000, that is $12,000 in gross income, at which point you will have 0 debt. If we assume for a minute you are operating at 50% expenses, which in reality you should be doing much, much better than that. But let's just assume for a moment you are running at 50% expenses. That $12,000 would turn into $6,000 net after your expenses. So again, you spend 30 years, your tenants paid off, you now have a net worth of $1.6 million, you have cash flow of $6,000 a month. What does that mean? Well, in reality, what it means for most of you is you could go out and get a 50% loan to value. You could borrow $800,000, about $840,000 to be exact. And for many of us, probably myself included, that would double our retirement base and allow us to have a lot more income and cash to use in our retirement. Other things I want you to understand about getting to 4 is it's not get rich quick. At one rental at a time, we are just that, one rental at a time. We are not talking about going fast. We are not talking about max leverage. We are simply setting realistic goals, getting to 4, and if we like that, then we go for 10. Where did this idea of 4 rental properties come from? Lots of people today, Bigger Pockets, Pace Morby, Ryan Pineda, and others are talking about getting to 5. Why do I talk about getting to 4? Well, the reality is I invested through the Great Recession. I saw the banking environment go from very loose to very tight. And in the most tight, most regulated environment, you may not remember this, but the lending environment was so tight, you could only ever get 4 loans. Now you got to remember, this was after the Great Recession. I hope we never go back to that lending environment. But even then, you could get 4 home loans. So that is why I have always stuck with 4. The other reasons 4 is important, again, as I've started this, everybody believes it's possible. I've asked this question to thousands of people, and everybody believes they can get to 4. Very few people think they can get to 100, and even less should get to 100. I want you to understand that one rental at a time is not get rich quick. It is get rich for sure. Also, a lot of us are employees. A lot of us like our jobs. Maybe even some of us love our jobs. We are not trying to replace our income. We are trying to give ourselves options. That's what we are doing here. And again, the numbers are really simple. If you assume a 2.5% appreciation for 30 years, your property values will more than double. Same for rent. So folks, that's why I talk to get to 4. I talk about getting to 4 because it's believable. It's something you and I can do, and I hope you take me up on it. And again, when you get to the end of it, when you are retired, you can do so many things. You could sell the houses. You could take out loans. You could take out $800,000 very easily. You could do lots of things. You could sell 1, keep 3. But again, this is about giving you options. How many people at 60 years old or 65 wouldn't like to have 4 single-family homes paid off? That is why I talk to 4. That is why I think you should target 4. If you get to 4, great. Stop or go to 10. I hope that makes sense. Hope you're enjoying this view. We are leaving Iceland on our way to Greenland. Look at that spectacular view. Isn't that gorgeous? It's so peaceful. It's so quiet. Iceland is so quiet. I hope you get to enjoy it someday. I'll let you go ahead and watch the view for a little bit. Enjoy.